Hey guys, Pitmaster here. I've just been doing stories lately because I've been reminiscing about stuff, and I honestly think some of these stories are funny, and people want to hear them, and they're interesting, not just to me. And I could be wrong. If you guys think my stories are boring, please let me know, and I'll stop. But to me, like the old guys, once you get old like me, you just tell stories. What else are you gonna do? I can't do anything else. I can't actually do stuff, so I just tell stories. But anyway, okay, I'm gonna tell you 5 of my favorite Chuck stories. Not just favorite. I'm sure there's gonna be others come up, but 5 that I was thinking about because I was talking to Chuck today about he's coming out to our next black belt test in Hawaii, and just thinking sometimes we talk about the old days, but okay, my first one. The first time I met Chuck, we had a little fightish type thing. It was a sparring match, but it was more, I don't know what it was called. He talks about it in his book, but whatever. But after that, he wanted me to train him. So I lived out in the boonies, and my gym was in my backyard on 3 acres. You guys have ever seen like old Chuck UFC behind the scenes stuff where he's pushing the wheelbarrow and stuff? That's by my house. So the first time he came out, he came to class, which was like at 10 in the morning, and it was raining. And Chuck pulled up in like a Honda 250 motorcycle with like hefty bags all over himself because it was raining, and he was riding a motorcycle. So we trained, and that was the first time he ever trained with me. And we worked out, and we sparred, and when he was leaving, it was still raining, and he lived like 20 miles away. And it was pouring rain, and he had his motorcycle. So I said, I was off that day. I was working as a registered nurse at the prison, and I was off the next day. So I said, bro, it's pouring rain, man. Why don't you just drive my truck home and then come back tomorrow? It won't be raining. Then you can drive your motorcycle tomorrow. I don't have to go to work today. I'm just going to stay home today anyway. And he was like, I can't just take your truck. I said, no, drive my truck home and then come back tomorrow. And I just met him the day before, and he was like, okay. So he actually drove my truck home and came back and trained with me the next day, and 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 the next 20 years. But anyway, so that's a funny Chuck story. I got another funny story. My daughter was a bartender in SLO, San Luis Obispo, and Chuck was already, up there. Chuck was a star already. He was in the UFC already, but he wasn't all the way to the top yet. So he was still living in San Luis Obispo and still in town. But anyway, my daughter was working in San Luis Obispo at a bar, and I heard on the news that there was a riot because it was like a Mardi Gras riot. I don't know what a San Luis Obispo, Cal Poly Mardi Gras riot is against the cops. I mean, a bunch of little like college girls and then the females fighting against cops. I don't know. It was funny, but I was scared because I heard the cops were involved and there was tear gas, and I didn't know all the details. So I called Chuck, who was living in San Luis Obispo. I lived in Arroyo Grande, or I still do, about 20 miles away. And it was like midnight when I heard this. So I called Chuck, and I said, Chuck, there's a riot in San Luis Obispo, man. Go check out my daughter. So he goes, all right. And it's like midnight, 1 in the morning. He was at home. So I get a call like 10 minutes later, and he goes, all right, I'm right here with Susie. She's fine. Everything's okay. That might sound like a stupid story to you, but it's a huge story to me. Just the fact that I had that family feel with Chuck, and that I don't know, that was a big story to me, so it might not have been to you. But comment below if you think that was stupid. And if you do, fuck you. No, I'm joking. Okay, another funny story. Chuck's already a star. People are asking for autographs, but he's still living in San Luis Obispo. But he's a star. He's getting asked for autographs all the time. You've never, ever seen anyone like Chuck asking for autographs. I know you've always seen the big stars, especially when they start getting bigger. When you ask for autographs, half the time they're going to say no, or pictures, no. They won't do it. They go, no, I'm too busy, and they'll walk away. Chuck never once ever did that. He would, I'll tell you the story in the next one, but he would never turn down someone. And I'll give you an example. We're eating at this restaurant, a steakhouse in town, and he was hungry. We just got done training, and he was telling me how hungry he was. And we went there and we started eating, and I swear, he had the fork, took the food, and was just about to put it in his mouth, and some rude-ass fucking fan grabbed his arm and said, "Hey, I want a picture." Not standing respectfully saying, "Oh, sir, can I please get a picture?" Or, "Hey, Chuck, can I please get a picture when you're done?" Or whatever. He actually aggressively grabbed Chuck's arm while he was about to eat, stopping him from putting the nourishment in his fucking mouth, and said, "Hey, I want a picture." Now, 99 and 9/10% of anyone else would have said, "Fuck you, I'm eating, bro. Let me eat." Chuck looked up at the guy and goes, "Yeah, sure." And he put his fork with food on it down, stood up, took a couple pictures with this guy with his arm around him, asked him his name like he always does, shook his hand, and then sat down and ate again. Nobody else would have done that. And it's little things like that are the reason Chuck was such a legend. Because not only was his fighting the way it was, but he did stuff like that all the time. Another story. We were at a super show, the martial arts super show, and it's put on by Century and Maya. It's done, put on every year. Actually, there's one next week at the Venetian. I'll be there giving I do a class, and sometimes I do I speak and stuff. But I always go because it's the best seminar you can go to if you're a martial artist or a martial arts school owner. I mean, there's more packed into those 2 days of learning and interacting and networking and stuff than anywhere in the world. But anyway, it's huge. And it was at the MGM a few years ago, and this is when Chuck was huge. I mean, he was already huge. And I had a booth at the Super Show, which is a big martial arts convention, and I had a booth there, and I was selling shirts and affiliations and stuff like that. And I thought, well, having Chuck there will bring extra people to my booth. No, I was wrong. Having Chuck there it exploded. Everybody was there at my booth. I mean, I didn't even sell anything because everybody was there for Chuck. But I mean, there was other UFC fighters signing autographs here and there. But when the announcer said Chuck Liddell is at the Pit Ohana booth, every single person in the MGM rushed there. Okay, now Chuck did me the favor by coming to my booth just to get extra people there. But when they announced his name, the fucking line went outside the convention center. It went outside. It went down the strip. It was fucking crazy. So Chuck started signing autographs. Okay. It was a line. Huge line. He's signing autographs, asking every single person their name and shaking their hand. Every single person. He didn't get tired at all. Okay, this is not exaggerating. Almost 6 hours later, we finally had to take him away and take him back to his room. Because he wouldn't stop. He wouldn't stop. Even when we said, "Hey, let's go, Chuck," he's like, "No, I got to get everyone, man. He would actually say, I got to get everyone." Like after like 6 hours, he was like, you could tell he was like, low blood sugar, and he would not stop. He won't stop till every autograph was signed. So we actually had to physically pull him away. He sat there for almost 6 fucking hours. True story. And and not only did he do that, just like scribble, no. He would look at everybody in the eye, ask them their name, sign their name and his autograph, shake their hand. And if they had any questions or interactions, he'd stand right there. He'd stay there and do it. Chuck did that. Okay? True story. Another little tidbit that's kind of interesting that you guys didn't know about Chuck was before his fights, even his huge fights, like he didn't have enough going on, training for the fight, the pressure, everything. interviews and everything. When people ask Chuck for tickets, the UFC gave him a couple tickets, but they don't give a lot because they're paying him. Why should they give him a bunch of tickets too? But everybody thought that he was like Ticket fucking Masters. You know, the internet site or whatever where you get tickets. So he would actually buy like thousands of dollars of tickets to give to his friends. They weren't comp tickets. They were tickets that he bought because he wanted his friends to have a ticket. Even rich guys, doctors, lawyers, hey Chuck, got a ticket? Where they could afford a front row seat ticket, but he would give them a ticket. And he did that every fight. And what he would also do is he would not only arrange the hotel rooms for people, he would arrange them like, well, he knows this person doesn't get along with this person, so he put them in different floors. And when he flew them over, which he would do, get the airline tickets, he wouldn't want to sit this person and this person together, or he did want to sit them together. He would arrange all that shit before his fights. People don't know that. He would arrange the hotel room, the tickets, and the flights for a huge conglomeration of his friends and family before the fights. And that's when he's training and when he was, so, focused. I mean, this is at the top of the top when he was like, in his Babalu days. I mean, he was doing that. I mean, he's getting everyone tickets, everybody this, making sure everybody had hotel rooms, make sure his mom, his brothers, his, sister, everybody had rooms, made sure everybody had flights, everybody had tickets together, like he would, his mom and his, her husband and then sister, and he'd have these people sitting together and these people sitting together. He would take care of all that shit before his fights. Another Chuck story. Anyway, that's all I got right now, but there'll be more. If you think my stories are great, like I do, please comment because I want to know. And if you think they suck, please comment. I want to know that too.